Hey everybody, it's Ed Brown with BoostTBM, and in this video we're going to talk about Apptio's performance review component. So if you have a project with a lot of data or a project that spans many years, or you have complicated reports that drill across lots of objects, it's probably time to start thinking about monitoring and managing performance. Even if you're not having any performance issues right now, it's good to know where these tools are, and the performance review component puts all of your diagnostic tools in one really easy to access place. So, like any component that you need to install, first check to see if it's in your available list. You would install the component, check it in like anything else, and then you can access the reports through your Project Explorer and Reports, Service Costing, and Analyze Performance. So let's take a look at each tab, and I'll tell you what I would focus on as we go through that report. Starting with the Allocation Information tab, I would sort descending by row count, not necessarily the only thing to look for, but if we have some really small row counts here, even if they're inefficient, chances are they're not having a significant impact on our performance. So let's start with one of the big ones. In my case, my largest assignment ratio table is between cloud service provider and IT resource towers. If I want a little bit more detail about that, I could go to the allocation strategies view of my cost model and see the allocation description, the actual logic connecting these two objects, and the cardinality of that relationship. Now, a big row count or a many-to-many cardinality is not necessarily bad here, but if I expected it to be a one-to-many, or I could do that math in my head and I expect 100,000 rows and I see 645,000, I know maybe something's inefficient, maybe something's not happening the way I expected it to. So that will be a place to start. Looking at the drill and identifier information, I can see a few interesting things here. I can see the worst case rows, which would be a theoretical all-to-all relationship between these two objects. Not likely, but if we did see that my assignment ratio matched the worst case rows, chances are that's an inefficiency. That's probably not accurate. That's something I would want to resolve. Another thing to keep in mind is that backing data sets, tables behind objects, can be reduced in row count by their unique identifier. So if I see a lot of things that are here at a ratio of 1, I know we're not doing any grouping by that unique identifier, and that may be an opportunity to use only the information I need from that backing data set to support my allocation. So be sure to look at everything where you have this 1 ratio here. Looking at model granularity, where this may be interesting is if I have tens of millions, hundreds of millions, billions of dollars in my model, and I see a lot of data sets with row counts in this 10 to negative 10 rows category. Those are very small dollar amounts that likely aren't having a significant impact on my model or my allocations, possibly, and I could use those as an opportunity to reduce the row counts, reduce the size of some of these allocations. Report information, one thing I would use on this is look at this last mod date. If I knew I wasn't having performance issues until November 4th, and I want to see what reports were modified on November 4th, I could take a look here and maybe narrow that list down to reports that could have impacted my performance suddenly. Dataset sizes, I would focus on the difference between pre and post function rows and also pre and post group rows. That could tell me if there are drastic or dramatic changes here, data sets that I have some sort of impact on via a function or via a step that I've added that I might want to look at if I've created an inefficiency. In size trends, what I would be looking for here is any dramatic outliers. If suddenly there are quadruple or 10 times the number of rows in 1 month, I know that might be an anomaly, that might be an error with the backing data. I could review that data and see if something I loaded in created an unintended performance consequence. So there are a lot of things you could take away from this report. There are a lot of places to start, not necessarily a right way, but this is one way that I would use it to start looking for performance issues in my model. I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to email ebrown@boosttbm.com. Thanks for watching.